2 blankets, a block, and a strap. And then if you could set up your blanket so it's a tight rectangle like this at the top of your mat, and your block at the top of your mat, is we'll go from down dog to another movement, and we'll need the blanket then. And then when we start, I'm going to start seated, but start seated on a blanket so that it's comfortable, like so that your ankles and your bottom are supported on a blanket. Just because we'll start seated, and it's never fun to be uncomfortable. I think that's everybody. Just wait for everybody to get set.
The blocks back.
These.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to mute everybody, and then we'll get started. Wait. John, did you have a question? Hold on, I can't hear you. You're muted. Can you unmute?
No, I didn't have a question.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying something. Okay. All right. Mute everybody. Oh. All right. So we're going to start seated. Comfortable Sukhasana, cross-legged position. I'm going to start with that thymus tap again because we're going to maybe be going into the gym and things are opening up. And let's activate our immunity, which is what that does. So you'll be comfortably seated. You just take your right hand or your left hand, whichever is more comfortable, and you're just going to start tapping on the thymus, which is right at the sternum. You're just going to tap across the collarbones just for a little bit of time. Maybe 30 seconds we'll do this tapping. So this ignites your immunity. Your immunity is held in the thymus gland. So just one more time through here, down the sternum, up the collarbones. And then let's close the eyes, stop tapping, and bring the hands to heart center. And just inhale there. So inhale into the belly, exhale, release. And keeping the eyes closed, just notice that shifted any energy. So we set an intention for our practice today. And release the hands, softly blink open the eyes. And let's just start with some circles of the hips. Just circling. I'm gonna work on hips mostly today, some shoulders, some low back. One more, and then we'll reverse. So the circles are part of the Kundalini practice. It's a nice way to open. And then we'll pause. And then let's shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back, rotating. One more time. We'll reach behind and stretch back. Then bring your fists around to the right side. And we'll bring our right ear to our right shoulder and stretch into the neck there. Bring the chin to the chest. Bring the head up. Let's reverse sides. Left ear to left shoulder. And bring the chin to the chest to release that. All right, so let's reach our arms up and rotate, or side bend. So side bend dynamically. See if you can get a little farther each time. And the next time we get to the left, we'll pause. Stretching into the side, rooting down into that right hip. And come up to the opposite side. Rooting and lengthening. And then come up. So we'll take our left hand and walk it back a little bit. And then we're going to bring the right hand to meet it and stretch out and open. So this is a nice opening of the chest. And then come back. And just do that dynamically in your own time. No rush. You can take it as slow or as fast as you want. If it's bugging your shoulder, you just bend the top arm and bring it back. See if you can really exaggerate this movement so that you get a nice opening across the shoulder and the chest. We'll go 2 more times through. All right, and then we'll walk to the opposite side. So your hand walks back, right hand back, bring the left hand to meet it and lengthen open. And same thing, just do it at your own pace. If it bugs your shoulder, you're just gonna bend. A couple more times here. And release. So come up, switch the cross of your legs. And we'll do our half archer arm. So you're gonna karate chop and thread through. Let's take 2 more breaths here. On the exhale, release, karate chop opposite side and thread through. Two more breaths. And try to focus your attention on that breath. I'm going to train our coming to the breath so when we start our yin postures, we can just focus on that and make it more of a mindful meditation practice. And release. And we'll do a wrist stretch and then that'll be it on the seated. So hand comes forward and bring the fingers back. And then bring them down. Opposite hand, lengthen the fingers back. Bring the hand down. Hands to prayer and bring the hands over to one side. Opposite side. And release. Okay, so we're going to come to hands and knees. Keep your blanket underneath your knees just so it's more comfortable. So hands and knees, we'll take cat-cow. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch and look up. Exhale, round. One more time like this. And exhale, round. Now walk your feet over to the right, stretching the side body. And then over to the left, just move dynamically there. Right and left. And then bring them back to center. We'll walk our hands over to the right and try cat-cow this way. Just see how different that feels. Just do it 3 times again. And then on your last time, you'll come to center, but you'll bring the feet and just squeeze into the side and do a twist. We're massaging the inner organs here. And then come back to center. And do the opposite side. So walk the hands over to the left and try cat-cow this way. Just notice how that feels in the side body. Last round. And then bring the feet over to the left as well and just squeeze into the side. And come back to center. So we're going to take this into down dog. So walk your hands about 3 inches forward, tuck your toes, and come up to down dog. Now I want you to bend your knees deeply here and just push into the hands and lengthen back into the shoulders. So you're really opening the shoulders and then try to lengthen the feet down. And you don't have to touch the ground. That's not the goal. The goal is to get the length in the upper body as well. So pressing into the fingers, into the mounds of the hands, and lengthening back. Take 2 breaths here. And lift the right leg up, open the hip, and if you want, you can leave it open or you can circle the knee if you want more dynamic movement in the hip here. So if you're circling, then bring it back, and then we're gonna bring the knee to the chest and place it between the hands. So lower the left knee down to the ground. We'll lift up for Samson. Grab the left wrist, stretch to the right side. Back to center, cactus the arms, and we'll twist to the right, but make sure you're squeezing your shoulder blades back. So you're really opening the chest in this twist. And then back to center, arms up for one more stretch. And then hands come down. Let's wiggle our right foot over for lizard. And you can do this actively if you want to sway in the hips, or you can do it just sitting still. You can come down to your elbows if you have the mobility for that. Two more breaths here. And then slowly come up. And we'll go back to down dog and do the opposite side. So stretching down dog for 1 breath. We'll lift the left leg up, open the hip. If you want to do the circle here, you can. We'll just take 3 circles if you're circling. Others can just stay still if they prefer that. And then bring the knee forward to the chest, place it between the hands. We'll let the right knee come down to the ground this time and lengthen up. And grab the right wrist, stretch over to the left. Hands back up to the sky. Cactus the arms, and we'll rotate to the left. And again, you're squeezing back into the chest. So you're really squeezing your shoulder blades together. Back to center, arms up one more time. And then place them down, wiggle the left foot out for lizard. And you can do it dynamically if you like the swaying, or you can be still in it. It's up to you, whatever feels best in your body today. You have the mobility, you can come down, but only if that helps your pose. Take 2 more mindful breaths here. And then coming back out of it, go back to down dog one more time. And then just bend the knees, come into child's pose. You can use your blanket to stretch if you want a little more length in the arms. And then come up. So I want to just do one thing. I want to demo up dog for you guys, because one thing I really noticed in class when we get back into the gym is it's often used as a warm-up. And what I see a lot of people do is actually seal pose. And as a warm-up, seal pose is way too much of a back bend when you're cold. And so I just want to teach you guys how to do up dog properly. And many of you know it already, so just bear with me. But I'm going to do it because I think it's helpful. So I'm going to demo really quick, and then we'll do it together. So you come down to your belly, and always, even if they say do an up dog right away, you're gonna do a baby cobra first. So baby cobra, you know you're in it when you can lift up your hands and you don't fall down. So I'm lifting up my hands and I know I have a proper safe back bend here, even if my body's not warm. And then you just come down, and then to do up dog, we bring our hands back by the floating ribs and you press up. The important thing about up dog is that I'm off my legs. So in seal, I'll demo seal. My legs are on the ground and I'm stretching up. And this is what I see a lot of people doing for up dog. It's way too deep of a back bend. So up dog, feet are firmly planted, my quads are engaged, and I'm pressing up and my legs are off the ground. Make sense? So we're gonna do it together. Let's all start on our bellies. So just resting down on your bellies. I'll wait for everybody to get there. All right, so hands are like right in line with the nipples, and you're just gonna lengthen up into baby cobra. So try lifting your hands and make sure you haven't gone up too far. And then release down. Let's do baby cobra one more time. Lengthening up, down. Now, I want you to wiggle your fingers back a little bit, just slightly. And then you're gonna firmly plant your tops of your feet into the ground and lift up, engaging the quads and making sure your legs are coming off the ground. And then release down. And then we'll just come back to child's pose. And then from child's pose, we'll walk our hands over to the right and just stretch into a side child's pose. So just lengthening inside. And then back to center and over to the left with the hands. Lengthening back. And then come back to center and come to seated. All right, so we're gonna start with a yin pose of butterfly, which is always a nice restful one. So come onto your blanket under your seat. We'll put our feet together. And so in butterfly, in the yin portion, we don't want the feet too close to the groin. They're gonna be out a little bit so it's comfortable. And then grab your block or your blanket so you have something to rest your head on. And then start to come forward. And we'll just allow the head to rest on the block if you can go that far. If not, you're just gonna come forward and stay in what's most comfortable for you to hold for about a minute. So tuning into the breath here. You can say to yourself, inhale or in and out, if that's helpful. And slowly coming up, moving the block off to the side. We'll stretch the legs forward and just pedal out the knees to release that. And the next pose we're going to do is Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana. So that's where we take our foot into the groin, so we're in a half butterfly, and then I've got my right leg stretched out. I want to do it with a side bend, so place your block or your blanket where you can support your elbow next to your knee. And now everybody's set up. We'll sweep our hand over to the right. We're going to place our elbow on the block and then sweep our left arm up and over. So I like to bend my arm and just rest my hands together. You can also lengthen if that's more comfortable for you, or you don't have to have the arm up, but it's nice to have the side bend. I'm going to time us for 30 more seconds. And slowly come up. We'll bring the feet to center again, pedal out. Before we go to the opposite side, you can grab your block and switch it to the opposite side. And then extend the left leg out, bend the right knee in. And then we'll sweep the left arm out, placing the elbow on the block and sweep the right arm up and over. And then if you want, you can clasp your hands behind your head if that's comfortable, or you can just lengthen the arm. Tuning into the sensation that you feel in the stretch. Not allowing the mind to get busy with thoughts, just stay with the sensation. And slowly release. Coming back to center. You can take whatever dynamic movement that helps you release that. And then our next pose is going to be Yogi's Choice, deer or pigeon. So see how you feel today. If you take pigeon, you may like to fold up your blanket under your hip. So if I take my blanket and fold it into a square, I'll demo both. So if I'm doing a pigeon supported with a blanket, just bring my knee and my foot parallel to the front of the mat, or it can be tucked into the groin, similar to the way we did the Janu Sirsasana. And then you place the blanket under the hip to support it, and then come forward. That's very helpful because it keeps our hip square when we keep the blanket under. And since we're gonna hold it for about 1.5 minutes, then that's great. If you wanna take deer pose, you don't really need the blanket under because the hips can be square, it's more accessible. So deer pose, very similar. The front leg is set up either into the groin or more parallel, depending on your mobility. And the back knee is bent, and then we just come forward. Now, you may like to have something in front, like a pillow or your block, for your elbows to rest on while you're in that, just so it can be restful. But we'll start on the left side, so pick which you'd like to do. And I'm just gonna grab my timer. And I'll set it up. I'm gonna take deer. So once you're in the position, then you'll slowly fold over. And then just either have a blanket to support you or the block to support your head as you rotate down, making sure you're comfortable. And it's important in yin not to go too far so that you can actually hold the pose for a period of time without the sensation being too intense. And it's best if you can practice it in stillness. So if you take it to about a level 5, 6 of intensity, that allows you to stay in the pose comfortably, and it also allows the fascia to open. As when you go into level 10 and then you have the pose holding for a period of time, it totally changes, and then sometimes you have to come out. And slowly start to come out. We'll just bring the knees up and take a windshield wiper to release. And then setting up for the opposite side, whichever version you chose. And then we'll come forward, resting in the pose. And slowly coming up. We'll take the windshield wiper again, so just bring the knees forward. Taking a little bit of movement after the stillness. All right, so we'll do some strap work next. So let's lay our blankets down onto the mat since we'll be on our backs. Make sure our head and back body is supported. And then have your strap and a block handy so that you can be supported, or if a rolled up blanket works too. We'll have the block to the right side or the blanket, strap to the right side. Coming into your backs. Place the strap over the right foot, either on the ball or the heel. And then depending on how your low back is feeling today, you can either keep the top knee bent, or you can lengthen it down. And then just sitting in this pose with the hamstring stretch for a moment, just noticing the sensation. And let's start to turn the ankle, just rotating to the left and the right. And spinning, interior rotation, exterior. And placing the block right at your right hip. The strap goes into the right hand, close to the foot, you're grabbing it, and then out to the side. So allowing the block to catch your leg so that you're supported. And bring the leg up to the top. And we'll just sway here. So swaying across the body, but keeping the hips planted so we get an outer hip stretch. And then if you need the support when we go into the twist, bring the block over so it can catch your ankle. And then right arm goes out to the side, and we're bringing the leg all the way across the body, either letting it land on the floor or on the block. Keeping the shoulders square onto the ground. More and more breath here. Bring the leg up to the top. And then bend the knee, keeping the strap on the foot. We're going to go into half happy baby. And then releasing that, we'll bring both legs together. Just noticing the shift in the body on the right side. And then we'll loop the strap around the left foot and do the opposite side. So again, noticing where you feel the strap is most needed. Does it feel best in the ball of the foot or in the heel? And starting to turn the ankle, just pointing the foot to the left and to the right. Stretching the outer shin. And rotating the whole leg. And then making sure your block is in towards your leg. So in towards your hip, so it can grab, support your leg. We'll grab the strap in the left hand this time and bring the leg out to the side. and then bring it up to the top. We'll sway for a moment just to warm up the outer hip. Just swaying the leg just slightly across the body. Don't lift the hips off the ground. And then grab your block if you need it for support when you come all the way into the twist. Place it so it can grab your ankle. And then you'll place the strap in the right hand. Left arm goes all the way out, shoulders are square, and we bring the leg across the body. Letting it land right there on the block or on the floor. And releasing back up to the top. And we'll bend the knee into the armpit. Put on the outside of the shoulder if you can, and for a half happy baby. And then slowly release the leg out of the strap, bring the feet together. Just noticing if you feel even now. You're always making a bunch of noise, so I'm gonna move her out. I like to be in there, but. All right, I'm gonna demo the next thing because we haven't done it before. We are gonna do, make sure you guys can see me. We're gonna do archer arms on our back. So if this doesn't feel accessible for you once you try it, I just want you to do it with the strap. So I'll show you how to do it with the strap first, in case you get on your back and you're like, this isn't comfortable for me. So you place the strap over the right shoulder, we bring the arm up and we grab it so that the strap is accessible. And then we'll do the opposite side. So that's a seated version. And then the lying down version, you come onto your back and you wiggle your arm back under so that your shoulder is resting on the palm of your hand. And then you lift your hips up and get your arm under, and then you lay on your back. So the body weight is allowing this to open here. So you don't want to go crazy with, especially with the right arm bent, where it feels super intense in the shoulder, but you want to feel a nice stretch that can be at a level 5 intensity. So let's try it together. So come onto your backs if you're going to do that version. If you're going to do the strap version, we've done it many times. You guys know how to do it. All right, so we're going to bend the right, we're going to lean our hips over to the side to lift up our shoulder and bend the right arm back. And then our hand is cupping, the palm of our hand is cupping the back of our shoulder. So that you should feel as stretching. And then you're going to lean your knees to the right side, lift up your hips and bend under. And you're basically on archer arms on your back. And then we're just going to rest in this for about 30 seconds. And so to release, we'll do it just like we came into it. We're gonna bring our knees over to the side and release the bottom arm, and then to the opposite side and release the top arm, and then just lay on your back. If you're seated, you're just gonna wiggle your arms just like that, laying perfect. And then we'll take the opposite side. So knees go to the shift to the right to release our hips up so we can get access to our shoulder by bending our arm. Hands cupping the back of the shoulder, and then opposite side. You're looping your hand up and back, just wherever you can. It can be at the low back. You don't have to get crazy with this one because the weight of our body makes it quite intense. Breathing into it, we're going to hold it for about 30 seconds. And to release, we'll bend our knees to one side, wiggling out, and then just resting for a moment before we go into the next pose. All right, so the next thing we'll do will be some bridge work. So have your block handy to the right side. We'll stay on our backs, or if you're up seated, come onto your back. Actually have the block to your right side. We're just gonna start with some dynamic bridge work. So your hands are down, stretch long, fingers are towards the feet, knees are bent. They're at about hips distance. And we're gonna bring our hips up, and at the same time, we're gonna bring our arms up and back. So this is just warming up for dynamic bridge, and then we'll bring our hips and our arms back down at the same time. So let's take this through about 4 times. So inhale, bringing everything up and back. Exhale down. Inhale up and back. And exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale up and back. And exhale down. And last time, inhale up and back. And exhale down. And now we're going to take a supported bridge. So grab your block, and you can place it at either the lowest level or the medium level, but not the highest level. So you're going to lift up your hips and place it under, right at the hip points, so that your buttocks is supported in this bridge. It's a restful way to hold bridge, and the arms can just be stretched long. And we'll just stay with our breath here for a little bit. And if it starts to feel too intense, you put it at a level 2, you can just back down to a level 1. Or reverse, if you feel like it's not enough, you can just lift up a little bit higher. Tuning into the rise and the fall of the chest here. Now, if your back is okay, we're going to stretch our legs long. If you have low back issues, this might not feel good. You can try it. If you feel any pinch of pain, then you're just going to come back to bent knees. But if this is okay on your back, you're going to stretch your legs long. You're going to bend your right knee and hug it into the chest.
And if you bend your knee, then when you sit down, we're going to do the opposite side. Left knee comes up, right leg is going long. Hugging it into the chest. And then releasing that leg down, we're going to come back to our original bridge position with the knees bent. And then one at a time, we'll lift our knees up to the sky to take supported shoulders. And slowly, one at a time, bend the knees, bring one foot down, bend the other, lift the hips, bring the block out, just completely onto your back. And then bring the knees to the chest, just hug them in. You can rock side to side. The next pose we're going to do is going to be a figure 4 IT band stretch. So I'd like for your block to be on the left side, flat at its lowest level. And we'll bring our foot into the figure 4 position to start. I think you guys have all done this with me before, but we'll take figure 4 and then we'll bring the foot down onto the block to stretch into that side of the hip here. But we're going to start in the figure 4 position with our low back traction, pressing into our thighs, release, press, release. One last time like that. And release and bring the left knee into the chest. You can either grab through the back of the leg or on top of the shin if you want more stretch here. Holding in figure 4, getting a nice hip stretch. And now making sure your block's in the right spot, we'll bring the foot down to the ground. Grab the ankle with the left hand. Guide the foot and the knee to the block into the ground. If you don't need the block, you can just move it out of the way. You want to make sure it's there in case you need it. And then from here, you can press into the thigh if you want to lengthen a little bit more that way, or you can reach up and overhead with the right arm. See what feels best to you today. And then if you stretch the arm overhead, we'll bring it back to the side. We'll bring the legs back up to our initial figure 4 position. Bring the knees up into the chest. Let's take this into Gomukhasana legs. So crossing the knees deeply and grabbing the feet or the outer shin and pulling them apart, pulling the knees into the chest, continuing with our hip work here. And keeping the legs crossed, we'll release the feet. We're going to take this into twisted roots. So if you want, keep your block. You may want to support your knees on that when you come over to the side. Arms go out like a T or a cactus. And then you bring the knees over to the left side for twisted roots. If this is too much of a twist in your back, you're just going to untuck your legs and bring the knees together. So that's the other option if the twist is too much with the legs crossed. And then if you don't need the block, you can just move it out of the way. But it's a very deep twist, so just make sure you're supported. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. And then bring the knees up into the chest and just hug them in, rock from side to side. Place the feet on the ground, grab your block and place it to the right side in the position where it's going to catch your foot when you take the IT band stretch. So cross our left leg over our right. Starting with the low back traction, we're just going to do the opposite side. Press, release, press, release, press, release. And then bending the right knee, bringing it up into the chest, grabbing either on the shin or threading through behind the leg. And then releasing the leg to the ground, grabbing your ankle with your hand, guiding the foot down to the block to start, and the knee goes flat onto the ground. And then if you don't need the block, you can move it out of the way. And then you can either press into the left thigh for length there or reach your arm overhead. If the arm is lengthened, bring it down. We'll come back to our original figure four starting position. Cross the knees deeply, bring them into the chest for Gomukhasana legs, grabbing either in the feet or the outer shins and bending the knees into the chest. And then the tailbone is on the ground, not lifting. And then release the hands from the feet. We'll make sure our block is there if we need it for twisted roots on the right side. Hands go out like a T or a cactus. And then you're going to bring the knees over to the right. You may either land on the block or you move the block out of the way if you want a deep, deep twist. And then again, if this is too deep for you, you just uncross the legs and stack them. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. And bring the knees to the chest. Hugging them in one last time. You can roll around on the low back, give it a little massage here. We'll set up for Shavasana next. It'll be a 2-minute Shavasana. So lengthening the legs down. Tucking the shoulders slightly under to lift the heart. Bring the arms out to your side. Let's take a deep, full inhale into the belly. Open the mouth. Exhale out all the air. Shavasana. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some subtle movement to your fingers and your toes. Bring your knees to your chest. And slowly roll to one side. Coming up to seated, but keep the eyes closed to stay grounded. Let's bring the hands to heart center. We'll take one last inhale together. And an exhale. Thank you all so much for your presence and your practice. Namaste.